The cupcake tasted wrong, but Claire Reynolds ate it anyway. She didn't want to seem rude at her own baby shower. 30 seconds later, she collapsed. 45 minutes later, doctors discovered arsenic in her blood. Someone had poisoned a 7 months pregnant woman. But here's where the story gets truly unbelievable. The doctor who saved her life? He had no idea he was holding his own granddaughter's hand, a granddaughter he never knew existed. And the person who tried to kill her? Closer than anyone could imagine. This isn't fiction. This is the true story of Claire Reynolds, a woman poisoned by the two people she trusted most. A woman who discovered family in the most unexpected way. A woman whose survival video went viral and changed everything. By the end of this story, you'll never look at trust the same way again. You'll understand why 50 million women have watched Claire's testimony. And you'll know exactly what signs she missed that could save your life or someone you love. This is a story about poison, betrayal, and the family that refused to let evil win. Stay until the end, because the truth is more shocking than you can imagine. The cupcake tasted wrong. Claire Reynolds lifted the delicate lavender cupcake to her lips. The frosting swirled perfectly like something from a magazine. Her baby shower was everything she had dreamed of. White and gold balloons clustered in the corners of the restaurant's private room. 30 women she loved surrounded her, laughing and chatting. Her hand rested on her rounded belly, 7 months pregnant, feeling her daughter kick and turn. Tessa Morgan smiled at her from across the table. Derek's assistant. Always so helpful, always so thoughtful. I made those myself, Tessa said, her voice bright. The lavender ones are my specialty. I saved the best one just for you. Claire bit into the cupcake, sweet at first, then bitter. So bitter her mouth puckered. She swallowed anyway, not wanting to seem rude. Tessa had gone to so much trouble. The burning started 30 seconds later. Her throat felt like she had swallowed fire. Claire reached for her water glass. Her hand shook. The glass slipped through her fingers and shattered against the hardwood floor. Women gasped. Someone screamed, "Claire! Claire, what's wrong?" Beth Palmer rushed to her side, her best friend's face suddenly inches from hers. Claire tried to speak. No words came, just a strangled sound. Her vision blurred at the edges. The room tilted sideways. Her baby. Something was wrong with the baby. She checked her phone 3 times before the shower. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock. Deleting and retyping the same text to Derek. Will you make it on time? She never sent it. He was always late these days, always busy with work, always tired when he came home. Now the phone was somewhere on the floor. Everything was on the floor. Claire was on the floor. Someone call 911. A voice she didn't recognize. Panic in every word. She's not breathing right. Beth knelt beside her burden, holding her hands so tight it hurt. Good. Pain meant she was still here, still alive. But the baby, why wasn't the baby moving? Stay with me, Claire. Stay with me. Beth's voice cracked. The ambulance is coming. Just hold on. The room spun faster. Faces appeared above her, mouths moving. She couldn't hear them anymore. Just a high-pitched ringing in her ears, like standing too close to church bells. Her mother used to take her to church every Sunday before she got sick, before the cancer took her 5 years ago. Mom. I need my mom. But Margaret was gone, had been gone for years, and Claire's father had left when she was 3. She had no family, just Derek, just the baby growing inside her who had stopped moving. Tessa's face appeared in her fading vision, those perfectly lined lips, that careful expression of concern. But her eyes looked excited. Everything went black. Sirens screamed through Claire's consciousness. She floated somewhere between awake and gone. The ambulance. She was in an ambulance. The ceiling was white, so white it hurt. Or maybe everything hurt. Blood pressure dropping, a man's voice said. Professional, calm, too calm for how wrong everything felt. Baby's heart rate is irregular, a woman responded. We need to move faster. Baby, Emma. Claire had already picked the name. Emma Margaret, after her mother. The daughter she might never meet. Beth sat beside her, still holding her hand, still here. Claire's eyes wouldn't focus properly, but she recognized Beth's perfume, that vanilla scent she always wore. Claire had given it to her for Christmas 2 years ago. "Your husband is following in his car," Beth said softly. "He'll meet us at the hospital." Derek, Claire tried to picture his face, couldn't quite manage it. When had she last really looked at him? Really seen him? They used to talk for hours, now they barely spoke at all. He blamed her pregnancy hormones, said she was too emotional these days. Too needy. Maybe he was right. No, that thought didn't feel right either. The ambulance took a sharp turn. Claire's stomach lurched. The burning in her throat had spread to her chest, her lungs. Everything inside her felt like it was melting. "Hartford Medical Center, 2 minutes out," the paramedic said into his radio. 2 minutes. Claire had 2 minutes to stay conscious. 2 minutes to keep breathing. 2 minutes to make sure her baby survived whatever was happening. She counted the seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. The baby kicked, weak, barely there. But she kicked. Claire started crying, silent tears that rolled down her temples into her hair. Her baby was still fighting, so she would fight too. The ambulance doors flew open, bright lights, harsh and clinical. Voices shouting medical terms she didn't understand. Someone lifted her onto a gurney. The wheels rattled beneath her. So loud. Everything was so loud. Pregnant female, 29 years old, 7 months gestation, and the paramedic rattled off information. Severe gastric distress, difficulty breathing, altered mental status. Symptoms began approximately 15 minutes ago after ingesting food at a private event. They rolled her through automatic doors into the emergency room. The smell hit her immediately. Antiseptic and fear. Hospitals smelled like fear, like the night she spent at her mother's bedside, watching cancer steal her piece by piece. "Get her into Bay 4, a man's voice commanded. Deep, authoritative. "I want full labs immediately. Toxicology panel, complete metabolic, and get obstetrics down here now." Claire's eyes rolled toward the voice. A tall man in a white coat, silver hair, sharp blue eyes that missed nothing. He moved with the kind of confidence that came from decades of saving lives. "What did she eat?" he asked Beth, who had somehow stayed by Claire's side through the chaos. "Cupcakes, lavender cupcakes. One of the guests made them specially." Beth's voice shook. "Doctor, please. She's my best friend and the baby." "We'll do everything we can," he said. Then his eyes met Claire's, really met them. Something flickered across his face. Recognition? Confusion? It was gone too fast to tell. A nurse appeared at his elbow. Older woman. Kind eyes. Her name tag read Linda Hayes. "Dr. Barrett," Linda said quietly. "Those eyes. They look just like—" "Not now, Linda." Dr. Barrett cut her off gently. "Let's save her first." Save her. That meant Claire was dying. That meant this wasn't just bad food or pregnancy complications. This was something else, something worse. The nurse inserted an IV into Claire's arm. The sting barely registered against everything else. Cold liquid rushed into her veins. Medicine, poison. She couldn't tell the difference anymore. "Mrs. Reynolds, can you hear me?" Dr. Barrett leaned over her. His face came into focus. Those eyes, so blue, so familiar somehow. "You're at Hartford Medical Center. You're safe now. We're going to take care of you and your baby." Safe. The word felt like a lie. Nothing felt safe. Not anymore. Not since the cupcake. Not since the burning started. Not since she realized someone wanted her dead. Because that's what this was. Deep in her gut, beneath the pain and fear, Claire knew this wasn't an accident. Someone had poisoned her. The question was who? Her eyes found Beth again. Beth would never hurt her. They had been roommates in college, been through breakups and graduations, and all the small deaths that came with growing up. Beth was family, chosen family, the only family she had. Dr. Barrett moved around her with practiced efficiency, listening to her heart, checking her pupils, pressing gently on her swollen belly, each touch professional and careful. "Baby's heart rate is stabilizing," he said. Relief colored his voice. "Still irregular, but improving. That's good. That's very good." Claire wanted to thank him, wanted to say something, anything, but her tongue felt thick and useless in her mouth. Don't try to talk, he said, as if reading her mind. Save your strength. We're running tests now. We'll know what we're dealing with soon. Tests, results, answers. But Claire already knew the answer. She just couldn't prove it yet. The baby kicked again, stronger this time. Fighting to live, fighting to be born. Hold on, Emma, please hold on. Dr. Barrett stepped back, letting the nurses work. But he kept watching her. Those blue eyes studied her face like he was trying to solve a puzzle. Like something about her bothered him, nagged at him. Linda Hayes caught his expression. She looked between them. Claire and the doctor. Back and forth. Her mouth opened like she wanted to say something, then closed again. Whatever she saw would have to wait. Right now, all that mattered was the poison in Claire's body. The baby fighting for life inside her, and the truth waiting to destroy everything she thought she knew about her husband, her marriage, her entire life. The test results would show something that changed everything. This wasn't an accident. This was attempted murder. And the person she trusted most had been planning this for months. Dr. Richard Barrett stared at the computer screen in his office. The numbers didn't lie. They never lied. 38 years in emergency medicine had taught him to trust the data. And the data said someone had tried to kill his patient. Arsenic, high levels, deliberate levels, not environmental exposure, not accidental contamination. This was murder, attempted murder. The distinction mattered legally, but to Rick it didn't matter at all. Someone had poisoned a pregnant woman. Someone had tried to kill an unborn child. His hand shook as he reached for the phone. When had that started? The shaking? Probably around the same time his hair went silver. Around the same time he realized he would grow old alone. Die alone. No family, no legacy. Just decades of saving strangers while his own daughter stayed lost to him. Margaret. 30 years since he'd seen her face. Since she'd chosen her mother over him in the divorce. Chosen to disappear across the country. Chosen to cut him out of her life completely. He wondered if she was happy, if she ever thought of him, if she had children of her own now. Rick shook his head. Not the time. Never the time. Work first. Always work first. He dialed Hartford Police Department. Detective Sarah Mitchell answered on the second ring. Mitchell? Sarah, it's Rick Barrett at Hartford Medical. I need you down here. We have an attempted poisoning. Pregnant victim. Arsenic. Silence on the other end. Then, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Rick hung up and walked back to Bay 4. Claire Reynolds lay on the bed, still unconscious but stable. The baby's monitors beeped steadily now. Better rhythm, better heart rate. They would both survive. Probably. If the poison hadn't done permanent damage. If complications didn't arise. If medicine was full of ifs. The blonde woman, Beth something, still sat in the corner chair. Hadn't left. Hadn't eaten. Just sat there watching her friend with fierce loyalty written all over her face. Is she gonna be okay? Beth asked when she saw him. The next few hours are critical, Rick said carefully. But she's young, strong. The baby is responding well to treatment. Those are all good signs. What happened to her? Was it the food? Rick hesitated. Patient confidentiality. But attempted murder changed the rules. The police would be here soon anyway. I've called the police, he said. The tests show she was poisoned. Deliberately. Beth's face went white, then red, then white again. Poisoned. Someone poisoned Claire. I'm afraid so. Oh, God. Beth stood up, paced to the window, paced back. I knew something was wrong. I knew it. But poisoned. Who would... She stopped. Her eyes went wide. Derek. Her husband? He's been acting strange for months. Distant. Cold. And there's this woman at his office. Tessa. His assistant. I think they're having an affair. I think... Beth pressed her hands to her mouth. Oh, God. Do you think Derek did this? Rick kept his expression neutral, professional. But his mind raced. Husband having an affair. Pregnant wife, poison. The pieces fit together too neatly. The police will investigate, he said. Right now, my job is to keep Claire and her baby alive. Beth nodded, sat back down, started crying quietly. Rick checked Claire's vitals again. Everything stable. Remarkably stable considering the arsenic levels in her system. Some people were just fighters, just refused to die even when death came knocking. Linda appeared in the doorway. "Dr. Barrett, the husband is here. Derek Reynolds. He wants to see his wife." Of course he did. The concerned husband, playing his part perfectly. "Send him in," Rick said. "But stay close. I want you listening." Linda's eyebrows rose. She understood immediately. 30 years of working together created its own language. Derek Reynolds walked into the room like he owned it. Sanons, tall, handsome in that polished way that came from expensive haircuts and tailored suits. He looked exactly like the kind of man who would marry a woman for her money, who would tire of her when pregnancy made her less convenient, who would find comfort in a younger woman's arms. Rick had seen 1,000 Derek Reynolds. They all wore the same mask. "Claire, oh God, Claire!" Derek rushed to the bedside, took her hand. Perfect performance, almost convincing. "What happened?" "They said she collapsed at the shower. Is the baby okay?" "The baby is stable," Rick said, watching Derek's face carefully. "Your wife was poisoned." Derek's expression barely flickered. Shock, horror, disbelief. All the right emotions in all the right order. But his eyes calculated, measured, assessed. Poisoned? How? Who would? Derek turned to Beth. "You were there. What happened?" Beth's jaw clenched. "She ate one of Tessa's cupcakes, the special one Tessa made just for her." Derek's face went still. Just for a second. Then the mask slammed back into place. "Tessa would never. She's been nothing but supportive of Claire, of our family." "Your family," Beth said coldly. "Funny how you've been working late every night for 6 months. Funny how Tessa always volunteers for the same shifts. Funny how Claire found hotel receipts in your jacket pocket." "This is not the time," Derek started. "This is exactly the time," Beth shot back. "Someone tried to kill my best friend. Someone poisoned a pregnant woman. And you're the one who benefits if she dies." Rick watched the exchange carefully. Derek's hands had tightened on Claire's. Not gently, not like a loving husband. Like someone gripping something they owned. Something they needed. "I think we should continue this discussion in private," Rick said smoothly. "Beth, would you mind getting some coffee? Take a break. You've been here for hours." Beth looked like she wanted to argue, then nodded, shot one more venomous glare at Derek, left. "Mr. Reynolds," Rick said once they were alone, "the police are on their way. They'll want to speak with you about your wife's activities today. What she ate, who had access to her food." "Of course, whatever they need." Derek straightened his tie, still playing the part. "Doctor, you have to save her. She's my whole world, the baby, our future, everything." Liar. The word rang so clearly in Rick's mind, he almost said it out loud. "We're doing everything we can," Rick said instead. Derek nodded, sat down in the chair Beth had vacated, pulled out his phone, started scrolling, deleting texts, not crying, not praying, just deleting. Rick left him there, walked to the nurse's station where Linda waited. "That man is not grieving," Linda said quietly. "No," Rick agreed, "he's not." "Should we? The police will handle it. Our job is Claire." Linda nodded, then, "Doctor, I have to say something. That woman, Claire, did you see her eyes?" "What about them?" "They're your eyes, Rick. Same exact shade of blue, same shape, same..." Linda hesitated. "Same as Margaret's." Rick's world tilted. Margaret, his daughter, lost to him for 3 decades. No, impossible. Connecticut was a big state. Blue eyes were common. This was coincidence. Grief making him see connections that didn't exist. "Lots of people have blue eyes," he said. "Not like that," Linda insisted. "And her bone structure, her expressions." "Rick, when was the last time you tried to find Margaret?" 15 years ago, the investigator said she moved to Colorado, got married, changed her name. The trail went cold. Rick's voice sounded hollow even to his own ears. "And if she moved back? If she had a daughter? If that daughter married young and ended up here, 7 months pregnant and poisoned?" Rick looked through the glass at Claire Reynolds. Really looked. The curve of her jaw, the way her hair fell across the pillow, the small scar on her eyebrow. Margaret had that same scar. Fell off her bike when she was 8. No, he was seeing what he wanted to see. What 30 years of loneliness and regret made him desperate to believe. Run her insurance, Rick said suddenly. Check her emergency contact information. Next of kin. Linda typed rapidly, pulled up the records. Her face went pale. Mother deceased, Margaret Collins. Died 5 years ago. Cancer. Linda's voice shook. Collins was your ex-wife's maiden name. Rick. Oh, Rick. The world stopped spinning. Just stopped. Margaret was dead. Had been dead for 5 years. And he never knew. Never got to say goodbye. Never got to apologize for the divorce that tore their family apart. Never got to tell her he loved her. Never stopped loving her. His daughter was gone. But his granddaughter was lying in that hospital bed, fighting for her life, carrying his great-grandchild. Rick's legs gave out. Linda caught him, guided him to a chair. I never knew, he whispered. Margaret never told me, never let me know she came back, that she had a daughter, that I had a grandchild. The divorce, Linda said gently. Your ex-wife poisoned Margaret against you. You know that. Margaret probably never knew the truth. Maybe Margaret had known and still chosen to keep Claire from him. Either way, the result was the same. 30 years of stolen time, of missed birthdays and graduations and all the small moments that made a family. And now someone had tried to kill her. Rick stood, walked back to Bay 4. Derek was still there, still on his phone, still deleting evidence. Claire's eyes fluttered, opened, unfocused at first, then sharpening, landing on Rick's face. Doctor? Her voice came out cracked, raw. Mrs. Reynolds, don't try to talk, Rick said, his own voice unsteady. You're safe. You're at Hartford Medical Center. The baby, Claire whispered. Stable. Your daughter is a fighter. Tears rolled down Claire's temples. Relief, fear, everything mixed together. Mrs. Reynolds, Rick said carefully, you've been poisoned, deliberately. Your baby is stable, but we need to keep you here. The police are coming. Claire's eyes widened, poisoned. The word hung in the air between them. Then her gaze shifted to Derek. Something passed across her face. Knowledge, certainty, horror. I'm not crazy, she said more to herself than anyone else. This really happened to me. Detective Sarah Mitchell arrived 12 minutes after Rick's call, 42 years old, 18 years on the force. She had seen enough domestic violence cases to recognize the pattern before she even entered the hospital. Pregnant wife, poisoned, husband with motive. The story wrote itself. But Sarah believed in evidence, in proof, in building cases that prosecutors couldn't lose. She found Derek Reynolds in the waiting room, alone, scrolling through his phone with the focused intensity of someone deleting their digital life. Mr. Reynolds, I'm Detective Mitchell. I need to ask you some questions about your wife. Derek looked up, smiled, that practiced smile that probably worked on clients and mistresses but did nothing for Sarah. Of course, Detective. Anything to help Claire. They sat in uncomfortable plastic chairs. Sarah pulled out her notebook. The physical act of writing made people nervous, made them talk too much, say things they shouldn't. Walk me through today, Sarah said. Everything your wife ate, everyone she was with. Derek recited the information smoothly, too smoothly, like he had practiced. The baby shower at Giordano's restaurant. 30 women, gifts, games, food provided by the restaurant except for the desserts. Tessa brought the desserts, Derek said, my assistant. She's been helping Claire plan the shower for weeks. Very thoughtful, very generous. Tessa, Sarah repeated, writing the name. Last name? Morgan, Tessa Morgan. She works at Reynolds Commercial Properties, my firm. How long has she worked for you? 2 years, maybe a little longer. Derek's expression never changed. She's excellent at her job, very dedicated. Sarah bet she was dedicated, just not to filing and answering phones. And you ate none of the food at the shower? I wasn't there. I had a business lunch with a client, Tom Richardson. We closed a deal on the Riverside property. Derek pulled out his phone, showed her his calendar. The lunch was right there, documented, alibied. Too perfect. What about Tessa? Was she at your business lunch? Derek's eye twitched. Barely, but Sarah saw it. No, she was at the shower. She and Claire have become quite close, actually. Tessa has been wonderful during the pregnancy. Very supportive. Supportive. Right. Sarah had heard that one before. The other woman being supportive, helpful, invested in the wife's well-being, until the wife became inconvenient. Mr. Reynolds, are you having an affair with Tessa Morgan? Derek's mask slipped. Just for a second, anger flashed across his face, then disappeared behind another smile. Detective, my wife was just poisoned. Is this really relevant? Everything is relevant in an attempted murder investigation. Attempted murder? You think someone deliberately... Derek stopped, recalculated. I suppose the arsenic. Yes, you're right. Someone must have put it in the food. Sarah hadn't mentioned arsenic. Only the doctor knew that information. And Derek, because he helped plan it. I didn't say arsenic, Mr. Reynolds. Didn't you? I must have misheard. Or the doctor mentioned it. I'm very upset, Detective. My wife is fighting for her life. His wife. Not Claire, not the woman he loved, just his wife. Like a possession. Like property. Sarah closed her notebook. We'll need to speak with Tessa Morgan, get her statement about the desserts. Of course, I'll give you her contact information. Derek typed into his phone. His fingers moved fast. Too fast. Probably texting Tessa right now, warning her, getting their stories straight. That won't be necessary, Sarah said. I'll get it from your office, along with your employment records, financial statements, insurance policies. Derek's jaw tightened. Am I a suspect, Detective? Everyone is a suspect until they're not. Sarah stood. Don't leave town, Mr. Reynolds. I'll be in touch. She left him in the waiting room, found Dr. Barrett at the nurse's station. Tell me about the arsenic, she said without preamble. Rick handed her the toxicology report. Sarah scanned it. High levels, ingested approximately 45 minutes before admission, consistent with food poisoning. Specific enough to track the source. The cupcake, Sarah said. Most likely, Rick agreed. We've sent samples to the lab from the restaurant, but it was hours ago. Most of the food is gone. Who brought the cupcakes? According to the friend, Beth Palmer, a woman named Tessa Morgan made them specially, insisted Claire eat a specific lavender one. There it was, premeditation, specific targeting, intent. Dr. Barrett, I need to speak with Mrs. Reynolds when she's coherent. Get her statement. She's awake now, scared, but lucid. Rick hesitated. There's something else you should know. Sarah waited. Claire is my granddaughter, Rick said quietly. I didn't know until an hour ago. Her mother was my daughter, Margaret. We were estranged for 30 years. Margaret died 5 years ago. Claire never knew I existed. Sarah processed this information. That's one hell of a coincidence. You being the doctor who saved her. Yes, Rick's voice was hollow. One hell of a coincidence. Or fate, or the universe's cruel sense of humor. Sarah didn't believe in coincidences, but sometimes the world arranged itself in strange patterns. Does Claire know? Sarah asked. Not yet. I wanted to wait until she was stronger, until the immediate crisis passed. Rick looked toward Bay 4. I lost my daughter. I'm not losing my granddaughter too. Sarah nodded. Let me talk to her. Get her statement. Then you can tell her whatever you need to tell her. Claire lay in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling tiles, counting them, losing count, starting over. Anything to stop thinking about the burning in her throat, the baby's kicks, Derek's face when he walked into the room. She knew. Looking at him, she knew. Her husband had tried to kill her. The knowledge sat in her chest like a stone, cold, heavy, immovable. A woman in a dark blazer entered. Short brown hair, kind eyes, badge clipped to her belt. Mrs. Reynolds, I'm Detective Sarah Mitchell. I need to ask you some questions about what happened today. Are you up for talking? Claire nodded, tried to sit up. The world tilted. Sarah helped her, adjusting the bed to a more upright position. Take your time, Sarah said, settling into the chair beside the bed. Start from the beginning, the shower. Claire's voice came out scratchy, painful, but she pushed through, told Sarah about the planning, how Tessa had volunteered to make desserts, how specific she was about the lavender cupcakes, how she insisted Claire try hers first. Did you notice anything unusual about Tessa's behavior? Sarah asked. She was excited, really excited. I thought she was just happy for me, for the baby. Claire's hand went to her belly. Emma kicked, still fighting. But now I think she was excited for something else. What makes you say that? Claire closed her eyes, saw Tessa's face as she collapsed. That flash of something? Satisfaction? Anticipation? The way she looked at me, right before I passed out. She looked pleased. Sarah wrote this down. Tell me about your relationship with your husband, with Derek. Everything Claire had been holding inside cracked open. The loneliness, the distance, the nights Derek came home late smelling like someone else's perfume, the way he avoided touching her as her belly grew, the insurance policy he insisted they increase, the will he wanted her to update. He's been having an affair, Claire said. I know he has. I've known for months. I just didn't want to admit it. With Tessa Morgan? Yes, I found receipts, hotel receipts, charges on our credit card for dinners I never attended, flowers I never received. Claire laughed bitterly. I even found her earring in our bed. I confronted him. He said I was paranoid. The pregnancy hormones were making me crazy. Gaslighting, classic, textbook. Did Derek know about your inheritance from your mother? Sarah asked. Claire went still. How did you know about that? I'm a detective. It's my job to know things. How much? $200,000 from her estate, plus the house sale. Derek wanted me to put it in a joint account. Said it was our money, our future. I kept it separate. Something told me to keep it separate. Smart woman, that instinct probably saved her life, or at least complicated Derek's plan. What about life insurance? Sarah asked. Derek bought a policy 6 months ago, $500,000. He said it was responsible. In case something happened to me during delivery, complications are common with first pregnancies. I signed the paperwork. Claire's voice broke. I signed everything he put in front of me. I trusted him. Who's the beneficiary? Derek, and if the baby dies, the payout doubles. Some kind of clause for pregnancy loss. $1 million motive. Opportunity through Tessa. Means through arsenic. The trinity of murder. Mrs. Reynolds, I need you to understand something. Based on everything you've told me, I believe your husband conspired with Tessa Morgan to poison you, to kill you and your baby, for money. Claire didn't cry, didn't scream, just nodded, like she had already known, had known for months, years maybe. I'm not crazy, Claire whispered. People kept telling me I was imagining things, that I was hormonal, unstable, but I was right. I knew something was wrong. You're not crazy, Sarah confirmed. You're a survivor, and now we're going to Billionaire to prove what they did. Beth returned with coffee she didn't drink, found Claire awake, the detective gone, and a shoebox on the bedside table. What's that? Beth asked. I asked you to bring it. My mother's things from the closet. Claire's eyes were red but dry. I needed something of hers, something to hold on to. Beth had grabbed the box without looking. Old photos, letters, the remnants of Margaret's life that Claire kept but never looked at. Too painful, too final. Claire opened the box now, sorted through the contents with shaking hands. Pictures from her mother's childhood, college graduation, wedding photos with a man Claire didn't know, her father, the one who left. Then she found it, a photograph, faded, 1985 written on the back in her mother's distinctive handwriting. A young man in medical scrubs standing in front of Hartford Medical Center. Tall, dark hair, bright blue eyes that jumped out of the photo even decades later. Claire flipped it over, read the inscription. Dad, 1985, Hartford Medical. Dad, her mother's father, the grandfather who had disappeared from their lives before Claire was born. Divorce, abandonment. Her grandmother had told terrible stories, painted him as a villain, as someone who chose medicine over family, who didn't love them enough to fight for them. Claire had never questioned it, never thought to question it. She looked at the hospital board visible through her room's window. Dr. Richard Barrett, Chief of Emergency Medicine, Hartford Medical Center. Same hospital, same name. Her doctor was her grandfather. The man who saved her life was family, the only family she had left. Claire's world tilted again, but this time it didn't feel like falling. It felt like something clicking into place, like the universe rearranging itself into a pattern that finally made sense. "Beth," Claire said slowly, "I need you to find Dr. Barrett. Tell him I need to see him. Tell him it's about my mother." Beth looked confused. "Your mother?" "Margaret Barrett. Tell him Margaret's daughter needs to talk to him." Understanding dawned on Beth's face. "Oh my God. Claire, is he—" "My grandfather. Yes, I think he is." What happened next revealed a truth more devastating than the poison, more life-changing than the betrayal. Claire had almost died never knowing she had family, never knowing someone out there carried her mother's blood, her blood. Derek and Tessa had tried to steal everything from her, but in doing so, they had given her something back. They had brought her home. Rick stood outside Claire's room. Linda had delivered the message. "Margaret's daughter wants to see you." 4 words that shattered what remained of his carefully constructed control. 30 years. 30 years of wondering, of regret, of imagining what Margaret's life became without him. And all that time she had been here, in Connecticut, close enough to find if he had looked harder, tried longer, refused to give up. But she was gone now, had been gone for 5 years, and he never knew, never got to apologize for the divorce that destroyed their family, never got to explain that he loved her, that he had always loved her. His hands shook as he reached for the door handle. When had he become old? When had his hands started betraying him like this? The door opened before he could knock. Beth stood there, tears streaming down her face. "She knows," Beth said simply. "She figured it out. The photo, the name, she knows us." Rick walked into the room. Claire sat up in bed, a faded photograph clutched in her hands. She looked at him, really looked. Those eyes, Margaret's eyes, his eyes. "You're Richard Barrett," Claire said. Not a question, a statement. "Yes. My mother was Margaret Barrett, Margaret Collins after the divorce." "Yes. That makes you my grandfather." Rick's voice failed him. He nodded. The photo fluttered to the floor. Neither of them moved to pick it up. "My mother told me my grandfather was dead," Claire said quietly. "She said he died when she was young. Before I was born, I never thought to question it. Why would I question it? Your grandmother and I had a very bad divorce." Rick's voice sounded hollow even to his own ears. Margaret was 15. She had to choose. She chose her mother. I don't blame her for that. I never blamed her. "But you're not dead." "No, I'm not dead." Claire's hands twisted the hospital blanket, twisting like she needed something to hold on to, something solid. "I've been alone for 5 years," she said, "since Mom died. I thought I had no one, no family, just Derek. And now I find out Derek tried to kill me, and I have a grandfather I never knew existed." "Claire, that's my name. You know my name?" Her laugh sounded broken. "Of course you know my name. It's on my chart. But you didn't know I was Margaret's daughter until Linda figured it out." "No, I didn't know." Rick sat in the chair beside her bed. Suddenly he felt every one of his 68 years. "Your mother and I lost contact 30 years ago. I tried to find her, hired investigators, followed leads, but the trail always went cold. I thought she wanted nothing to do with me. I thought it was kinder to let her go." "She died of cancer," Claire whispered. 5 years ago. It was fast. 3 months from diagnosis to the end. She was only 48 years old. The same age Margaret was when Rick's own wife died, when he lost the last connection to his old life, when he became truly alone. "I'm sorry," Rick said, inadequate words, but all he had. "I'm so sorry I wasn't there, that I didn't get to say goodbye." She talked about you sometimes toward the end, when the morphine made her confused. Claire wiped her eyes. She called for her daddy, said she was sorry, that she should have called, should have come back, but Grandma said you wouldn't want to see her, wouldn't forgive her for choosing. Lie. But spoken so often, they became truth, became the story his daughter died believing. I would have forgiven her anything, Rick said. I would have welcomed her home. Her and you. Always. Claire started crying. Not delicate tears, deep sobs that shook her whole body. Beth moved to comfort her, but Claire waved her away. I almost died, Claire said through the crying. I almost died never knowing I had family, that I wasn't alone. They tried to take everything from me, my life, my baby, and they almost took this too, this chance, this connection. Rick did something he hadn't done since Margaret was small. He reached out and held his grandchild, let her cry against his shoulder, let 30 years of grief and loss pour out between them. Linda watched from the doorway, tears streaming down her face too. 30 years of watching Rick slowly die inside. 30 years of failed holidays and empty celebrations. 30 years of one man's quiet loneliness. And now this impossible reunion, this chance at family. The photo lay on the floor between them. Young Rick, young Margaret, a lifetime ago. Before divorce, before loss, before the years of silence. Claire pulled back, looked at him. You have her eyes. Always wondered where I got these eyes. Mom's were green, but mine are blue, like yours. You have her smile too, Rick said, and her stubbornness. Margaret was the most stubborn person I ever knew. She wouldn't give up on anything once she set her mind to it. She gave up on you. No, your grandmother made her believe I gave up first. Made her believe I didn't want her. That's how poison works, Claire. It doesn't just kill the body, it kills relationships, families, hope. They sat in matching positions without realizing it, arms wrapped around themselves, protecting invisible wounds. Two people shaped by the same loss, the same abandonment, the same lies that tore their family apart. Somewhere along the way, Claire had become invisible to her own family. Rick had let that happen, had let his daughter slip away, had let his granddaughter grow up alone. I can't change the past, Rick said. I can't bring Margaret back. I can't give you 30 years of birthdays and graduations and all the moments I missed. But I'm here now if you want me, if you'll let me. Claire's hand went to her belly. Emma kicked, strong, determined, a fighter like her mother, like her great-grandfather. The baby, Claire said. Your great-granddaughter. I'm naming her Emma, Emma Margaret. Rick's breath caught. Margaret. The name would live on. That's beautiful, he managed. She's due in 2 months. Derek was supposed to be there. Be my support, my family. Claire's voice hardened. But he won't be there. He'll be in jail, and I'll need someone. Someone who actually loves me. Someone who won't try to kill me for insurance money. I'll be there, Rick promised. I'll be there for every moment. The birth, the first steps, everything. I won't miss another second of your life, either of your lives. Beth made a sound, half sob, half laugh. This is the most insane thing I've ever witnessed, and I once watched a man propose with a flash mob. The tension broke. Claire laughed. Rick laughed. The sound felt foreign, rusty, like a muscle he had forgotten how to use. Beth, meet my grandfather, Claire said. Grandfather, meet Beth, the sister I chose when I thought I had no family. Pleased to meet you officially, Rick said. Thank you for taking care of her, for being her family when she needed it. Someone had to, Beth said. Claire's terrible at taking care of herself. She stress bakes. Did you know that? When things get bad, she bakes. I've gained 10 pounds just being her friend. Margaret did the same thing, Rick said. The night before her wedding, she organized all the church flowers at midnight, made herself sick with worry that the arrangements weren't perfect. Claire went still. I do that. I organize when I'm stressed. I thought it was just me being weird. It's genetic weird, Rick said. The Barrett weird. We all do it. They talked for hours. Rick told stories about young Margaret, the firecracker daughter who challenged everything, who wanted to save the world, who loved art and music and everything beautiful. Claire shared her own memories. The mother who worked 2 jobs to support them, who never remarried after Claire's father left, who painted on weekends and filled their small apartment with color. Beth contributed stories about college Claire, the girl who studied too hard and worried too much, who fell for Derek's charm because he made her feel safe, protected. The irony wasn't lost on any of them. "I loved him," Claire said as the sun set outside her window. "I really did love him. Or I loved who I thought he was. The man who brought me coffee in bed, who laughed at my jokes, who said he wanted forever." "He showed you a mask," Rick said. "Some people are very good at masks, at being what others need them to be, until they don't need to pretend anymore." "When did it stop being real?" Claire wondered. "When did he decide I was worth more dead than alive?" The question hung in the air. No good answer. Maybe it was never real. Maybe Derek had been planning this from the beginning. Find a woman with money, marry her, wait for the right moment, cash in, but their reunion was just the beginning of what they would face together. Tomorrow they would start building the case, gathering evidence, proving what Derek and Tessa had done. Tonight, Rick sat with his granddaughter, held her hand, and mourned the daughter he lost while celebrating the family he found. Margaret would have loved Claire, would have been so proud of the strong, stubborn, fierce woman her daughter became. "I wish you could have met her," Claire said softly, reading his mind. "I wish she could see this, us, together." "She knows," Rick said. "Wherever she is, she knows. And she's glad we found each other." Linda knocked on the door, apologetic. "Dr. Barrett, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Detective Mitchell is here. She needs to speak with both of you." Reality crashed back in. The poisoning, the investigation, the fight that still lay ahead. But they would face it together now, not alone, not anymore. Family. After 30 years, Rick finally had family again. Detective Sarah Mitchell spread crime scene photos across the conference table. The baby shower, the dessert table, close-ups of the lavender cupcakes arranged in perfect rows. Rick and Claire studied the images. Claire's hand shook slightly as she pointed to one specific cupcake. "That one," she said. "That's the one Tessa gave me. I remember the frosting pattern. She said it was special. Made it just for me." Sarah marked the photo. "We recovered 3 cupcakes from the restaurant, 2 regular vanilla, 1 lavender. The lab is testing them now for arsenic. Results should be back tomorrow." "What about Tessa?" Rick asked. "Have you brought her in for questioning?" "We picked her up 2 hours ago. She's downstairs with her lawyer right now, crying, playing the shocked assistant who can't believe anyone would hurt sweet Claire." Sarah's expression was pure contempt. "She's good, very convincing." But her background check came back interesting. Sarah pulled out another folder. Tessa Morgan's history laid bare in black and white. Community college, 2 years studying chemistry, dropped out junior year. No official reason given. But I called the department head. Tessa was asked to leave after chemicals went missing from the lab. Nothing proven. No charges filed. But they didn't want her back. Claire's face paled. She studied chemistry. She knew how to make poison. "Gets better," Sarah continued. "Tessa worked at a pharmaceutical company for 8 months. Fired for irregularities in inventory. Again, no charges. But the company didn't want publicity. They let her go quietly. Paid her severance. Made her sign an NDA. "What kind of irregularities?" Rick asked, though he could guess. "Chemical compounds going missing, small amounts. Nothing that would kill someone on immediately, but enough to make someone very sick over time. Enough to look like natural illness." "How many people has she killed?" Claire whispered. "We're looking into that now. 2 suspicious deaths of older men she dated. Both wealthy, both died of what was ruled natural causes at the time. But one was only 53. Massive coronary, no family history, no warning signs." Sarah pulled out more photos. The men, their obituaries, Tessa standing at both funerals. "Grieving girlfriend, devoted companion." "She inherits from either of them?" Rick asked. "One left her $50,000. The other had already transferred $75,000 to her account in the months before he died. Small gifts, tokens of affection. He thought they were going to get married." Serial killer. They were dealing with a serial killer, not just a mistress, not just a woman having an affair. A methodical predator who had done this before. Who would do it again? Why Derek? Claire asked. Why go after a married man with no money? Derek makes a decent living, but he's not wealthy, not like those other men. Because you are, Sarah said gently. You have $200,000 in inheritance, $500,000 in life insurance, plus Derek's assets. His business, his properties. Together you're worth over $1 million, maybe more with the right liquidation. The numbers made Claire sick. She was worth more dead than alive. To Derek, to Tessa, to the people who promised to love her. Rick's hand covered hers. Steady, warm, real. What about Derek? Rick asked. What's his story? Moira pulled out another folder. Derek's background, less dramatic than Tessa's, but revealing. Derek married once before, 7 years ago. Wife's name was Jessica Hartman. They divorced after 3 years. Jessica got the house. Derek got debt. He was broke when he met you, Claire. Had just filed for bankruptcy, lost his first business, was working as someone else's sales agent. He told me he was successful, Claire said numbly, that he owned his company, that we were secure. He bought the business 2 years ago with a loan, using your inheritance as collateral. You didn't know that, did you? Claire shook her head. The room spun. Everything she thought she knew was a lie. Every word Derek spoke, every promise he made. I signed papers, Claire said. He brought me papers to sign, said it was for taxes, for the business. I didn't read them. I just signed. She had trusted him, loved him, believed in him. Starting over felt impossible, but staying in that marriage felt worse. The insurance policy, Sarah continued, Derek bought it 6 months ago, right after you announced the pregnancy, $500,000. Double if the baby dies. That's $1 million payout if you both die during delivery. Complications are common, Claire whispered. That's what he said. We needed to be prepared. I thought he was being responsible. He was being calculated, Sarah corrected. Derek doesn't do anything without a plan. 3 months after buying the insurance, he met Tessa, or reconnected with her. We're still tracking the exact timeline. But they've been together for at least 18 months. 18 months. Claire was barely pregnant, still glowing with the news, still planning their future together, and Derek was already planning her death. The timeline made her physically ill. Claire's hand went to her mouth. Beth appeared with a trash can, held Claire's hair back while she vomited. Again and again, Rick checked her vitals. Blood pressure elevated, heart rate too fast, stress, grief, betrayal manifesting physically. We need to stop, Rick said. She needs rest. Just a little more, Sarah said. Claire, I need to ask you something important. In the last 6 months, have you been sick? More than normal pregnancy symptoms? Headaches, nausea, fatigue? Claire thought back. The exhaustion that never lifted. The migraines that lasted for days. The stomach issues her obstetrician blamed on hormones. Yes, all the time I thought it was the pregnancy. My doctor said everything was normal. What if it wasn't? Sarah pulled out a medical timeline. Claire's doctor visits, symptoms documented, weight loss despite pregnancy. What if Derek was already poisoning you? Small doses, making you weak, making the final dose more effective. The room tilted. Claire gripped the table. Beth gripped Claire. He was killing me slowly, Claire said, for months. And I blamed myself, thought I was weak, thought I couldn't handle pregnancy, thought I was failing. Rick's jaw clenched, his hands fisted at his sides. 38 years in emergency medicine, 38 years of controlling his emotions, staying professional, objective. But this was his granddaughter, his family. And someone had been slowly murdering her for months. We need hair samples, Rick said. Arsenic shows up in hair growth. We can test and see how long this has been going on. Already ordered, Sarah said. Crime scene techs will be here in an hour. We'll need samples from Derek's house too. Tessa's apartment, looking for the poison source. The purchase records, the evidence that proves premeditation. Claire sat in the bathtub fully clothed, hospital room bathtub. Water running, just sitting, breathing. Beth had helped her here after the meeting, after the revelations, after learning her husband had been murdering her for months. The water covered her swollen ankles, lukewarm, soothing. She stared at the faucet, watched water pour, endless, constant, unlike everything else in her life. Emma kicked, hard, angry maybe, or fighting. Claire pressed her hand to the spot. "I know," she whispered. "I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But we're going to survive this. We're going to live, and he's going to pay." Beth knocked. "Claire? Honey? The techs are here. They need hair samples." Claire stood, dripping, still wearing the hospital gown, still pregnant with a man's child while he sat in jail for trying to kill them both. The hardest part was admitting that she had known all along, deep down, in that place where instinct lived. She had known something was wrong, that Derek's distance wasn't stress, that his late nights weren't work, that his insistence on the insurance wasn't responsibility. She had known, and she had ignored it, because admitting it meant admitting failure, meant admitting she had chosen wrong, loved wrong, trusted wrong. But she couldn't change the past, could only survive the present, build a future. The tech cut hair from the base of her skull, careful, professional, bagged it, labeled it, evidence of her own attempted murder. "How long before results?" Claire asked. 3 days, maybe 4. The lab is backed up, but Detective Mitchell put a rush on it. 3 days. Claire had 3 days before she knew how long Derek had been poisoning her, how long he had been planning her death. Sarah returned that evening. Her face was grim. "We searched Derek's home office," she said without preamble. "Found emails, deleted emails. He thought he erased them, but our tech guys are good." She handed Claire a printed email chain, from Derek to Tessa, sent 6 months ago. "We need to be patient. Let the insurance age. Make it look natural. Food poisoning at a party. Tragic. Unfortunate. No one suspects." Claire's hands shook reading the words. Her husband's words. Planning her death like a business transaction. Tessa's response was worse. "I have the arsenic. Small doses first, weaken her, make the final dose more effective. 9 months pregnant, high risk. Even if she survives, the baby won't. Double payout. We'll be free." Free. They wanted to be free. And Claire was the obstacle. Her and Emma, 2 lives standing between Derek and Tessa and their future together. "There's more," Sarah said quietly. "We found Tessa's journal. She kept a journal, documented everything, the doses, the timing, the plan, like she was proud of it, like it was an achievement." Sarah handed over photocopies. Tessa's handwriting, precise, neat, clinical. Week 1, added arsenic to Claire's prenatal vitamins. She didn't notice. Derek said she trusts him completely. This will be easy. Week 8, Claire is getting weaker, complaining of headaches. Her doctor thinks it's pregnancy. Perfect. Week 16, increase the dose. She's so sick now, barely eating. Derek pretends to be concerned. He's very good at pretending. Week 24, final phase begins soon. The baby shower. Public, tragic. No one will suspect. After this, Derek and I can finally be together. Finally be happy. Happy. Built on Claire's corpse. On Emma's tiny coffin. Claire read every word, every calculated dose, every symptom Tessa caused and cataloged, every moment of Claire's suffering that Tessa documented like a science experiment. "She's a psychopath," Beth said. "An actual psychopath. Narcissistic personality disorder with antisocial tendencies," Sarah corrected. "According to the psych evaluation, she has no empathy, no remorse. People are objects to her, means to an end." "And Derek?" Claire's voice was hollow. "Derek is worse. He knew you, loved you maybe, at some point, and he chose this anyway. Chose money over you. Chose Tessa over his daughter. That's not mental illness, that's evil. Evil, the word felt right. Too small for what Derek had done. But right. Rick entered, held papers, lab results. "The cupcake tested positive for arsenic," he said. "Lethal dose if you'd eaten the whole thing. If you'd been weaker, you and Emma would both be dead." But they weren't dead. They were alive, fighting, surviving. What happens now? Claire asked. Now we build the case, Sarah said. Hair analysis, email evidence, journal entries, Tessa's background, the dead boyfriends, financial records showing Derek's debt and your insurance. We build an airtight case, and we put them both away for a very long time. How long? Attempted murder, conspiracy, possibly multiple murders once we exhume Tessa's previous boyfriends. We're looking at 25 years to life, both of them. 25 years. Derek would be 57 when he got out. Tessa would be 52. Both their lives effectively over. Good, Claire thought. Good. She had only one choice left. Fight back. Expose them. Make sure everyone knew what they did. Make sure they never hurt anyone else again. I want to testify, Claire said. At trial, I want to tell everyone what they did, what they tried to do. You'll have to face them, Sarah warned. Derek and Tessa will be in court. Under cross-examination, defense attorneys will attack you, your character, your marriage, everything. Let them, Claire said. Her voice was steel. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm angry and I want justice. Rick smiled. You have Margaret's fire. She would be so proud. But that was just the beginning of how the truth would come out. Because Claire wasn't just going to testify in court. She was going to tell the world. Rick's house was nothing like Claire expected. She had pictured sterile, clinical, a doctor's bachelor home, all chrome and leather and empty walls. Instead, she found warmth, though. Books everywhere, medical texts mixed with mystery novels and poetry collections. Photos on the mantle, Margaret as a child, as a teenager, before the divorce stole their family. I kept them all, Rick said quietly, watching Claire study the pictures. Even after she left, even after the investigators said she didn't want to be found, I kept every photo, every memory. Claire picked up one frame, Margaret at 8 years old, missing her 2 front teeth, grinning at the camera with absolute joy, the same grin Claire saw in her own childhood photos. She looks happy, Claire said. She was happy, before the divorce, before her mother poisoned her against me. Margaret was the happiest child I ever knew, always laughing, always creating, always loving everyone. What happened in the divorce? Rick sat heavily on the couch. 30 years of pain etched in the lines of his face. I worked too much, loved my job too much. Your grandmother said I chose patience over family. Maybe she was right. I was young, ambitious, building my career. I missed birthdays, anniversaries, school plays, all the moments that mattered. That doesn't excuse her cutting you out completely, Claire said. No, but grief makes people cruel. Hurt makes people cruel. Your grandmother was hurt, and she made sure Margaret hurt too. Made sure Margaret believed I didn't love her, didn't want her. Made sure Margaret chose her in the divorce. And you let her go. I let her go. Rick's voice cracked. I thought it was kinder. Thought fighting would damage her more. Thought she'd come back when she was ready. I was wrong. Claire sat beside him. This stranger who was family. This grandfather who saved her life without knowing who she was. I forgive you, Claire said simply, for whatever you did or didn't do, for not fighting harder, for not finding us. I forgive you. And I think Mom would too. She called for you at the end. That has to mean something. Rick wiped his eyes. Thank you. I don't deserve that, but thank you. They sat in comfortable silence. Beth bustled in the kitchen making tea neither of them would drink. Linda had brought groceries, meal prepped, made sure Rick and Claire ate, slept, survived. Claire was 7 months pregnant, should have been glowing, planning a nursery, buying tiny clothes. Instead, she was planning how to prove her husband tried to murder her. Starting over felt impossible. Staying quiet felt worse. I want to make a video, Claire said suddenly. Rick looked at her. What kind of video? A testimony, my story, everything that happened, the poisoning, the affair, the months of being slowly killed. I want to record it and post it online. Let people know what Derek and Tessa did. Let other women know the signs, the warnings, the red flags I ignored. That could compromise the case, Rick warned. Sarah might not like it. I don't care, Claire's voice was fierce. The trial could take months, years maybe. And in the meantime, Derek and Tessa's lawyers will spin the story, make me look unstable, make them look like victims. I won't let that happen. I'm taking control of my own narrative. Beth emerged from the kitchen. I can film it, edit it, post it wherever you want. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. The press will go crazy, Linda added, appearing in the doorway. But maybe that's good. Public pressure, public outrage, makes it harder for the lawyers to manipulate things. Rick hesitated, then nodded. Your choice, your story. Tell it however you need to. They spent the next hour planning. Claire would record the video in Rick's living room. Natural light from the windows. Authentic, raw, no makeup, no staging. Just a pregnant woman telling the truth. The doorbell rang. Sarah stood on the porch, face grim. We need to talk, she said, about the plan. They gathered in the living room. Sarah laid out the situation. Derek's lawyer is pushing for bail, claiming he's not a flight risk, that he has a business to run. The judge is considering it. He tried to murder his wife, Beth exploded. Allegedly, Sarah said. Right now we have evidence, good evidence, but nothing that absolutely proves Derek knew about the poison. The emails are damning, but his lawyer could argue Tessa acted alone. That Derek was a victim too, manipulated by his mistress. That's ridiculous, Claire said. That's how lawyers work. They'll spin any story that creates reasonable doubt. And juries are unpredictable, especially with a charming defendant like Derek, especially when the victim is alive and the baby survived. So what do? Rick asked. We get him to confess, on tape, undeniable, in his own words. Claire understood immediately. You want to wire me, have me talk to him, get him to admit what he did. It's risky, Sarah warned. If he suspects, if he lawyers up, if he says nothing, we lose our chance and it could be dangerous. For you and the baby. Claire's hand went to her belly. Emma kicked, strong, fierce, a fighter. He won't suspect, Claire said. Derek thinks I'm weak, thinks I'll forgive him. Take him back. He always underestimated me. Let him do it one more time. Claire, Rick started. I can do this, Claire insisted. I want to do this. I want to hear him admit it. Want to know for sure that the man I loved never existed, that it was all lies, all manipulation. I need that closure. Sarah nodded slowly. Okay, here's how it works. We'll set up a conjugal visit at the hospital. Say the doctors need Derek to sign medical consent forms for emergency procedures. You will be wired, full audio, video if possible. We'll be right outside. Anything goes wrong, we're there in seconds. What do I say? Claire asked. Tell him you're dying, that the doctors don't think you'll make it, that you want to clear the air before the end. Men like Derek have massive egos. They can't help themselves. They need to gloat, need to explain how clever they were. Give him that chance. Let him tell you everything. The plan terrified Claire, sitting face to face with the man who tried to kill her, the man she loved, the man who was a stranger. But she had to do it, had to know, had to hear the truth from his own mouth. That night, Claire practiced in the mirror, saying the words, playing the role, the dying wife, the scared mother, the woman who still loved him. She was better at it than she expected. Maybe because part of her still did love him, loved the memory of him, the man he pretended to be. 3 a.m. Claire couldn't sleep. She wandered Rick's house, found him in his study, reading medical journals, not sleeping either. Insomnia is genetic too, Rick said. The Barrett curse. We're all terrible sleepers. Claire sat in the leather chair across from his desk. Tell me about your wife. Grandmother. Elizabeth. Betty. She was a nurse when we met. Beautiful, smart, strong. Everything I thought I wanted. Rick stared at his wedding photo on the shelf. Younger him, younger Betty. Both smiling. We were happy at first, but I worked too much. She resented it. Resented medicine, resented every patient I saved while neglecting my own family. Did you love her? I thought I did, but maybe I loved the idea of her. The perfect family. the perfect life. Medicine was my real love, my real passion. Betty knew that, hated me for it. Is that why she turned Margaret against you? Partly, also because hurting me was the only power she had left. I had taken everything else, our marriage, our time, our future, but she had Margaret, and she made sure I lost Margaret too. Claire understood that pain now, that betrayal. Derek had taken everything from her trust, her safety, her future, and he had tried to take Emma. I'm sorry, Claire said. Don't be. I made my choices. I live with them. Rick smiled sadly. But I get a second chance now, with you. With Emma. I won't waste it. They sat together until sunrise. Two Barretts unable to sleep, unable to turn off their minds, unable to stop fighting ghosts. At 8 a.m., Sarah called. Everything was set. Derek had agreed to the visit, thought it was about medical forms, thought Claire was scared and alone, thought he still had power over her. He was wrong. The hospital room felt different this time. Staged, prepared. Claire lay in the bed, IV in her arm, hospital gown loose over her pregnant belly. Beth had done her makeup, made her look sick, dying, exactly the image they needed. The wire was invisible, tucked under her gown, taped to her skin. Sarah and two other detectives watched from the observation room, recording everything, waiting for Derek to hang himself with his own words. Rick stood in the hallway, couldn't watch, couldn't stay away, ready to burst in if anything went wrong. If Derek showed even a hint of violence. The truth was more devastating than she imagined, and she was about to hear it in his own words. Linda knocked. He's here, are you ready? Claire nodded, steadied her breathing, became the woman Derek expected, weak, scared, his. The door opened, Derek walked in, flowers in hand, performance perfect, grieving husband, loving father-to-be. Claire, sweetheart, I've been so worried. He set the flowers on the bedside table, sat in the chair, took her hand. How are you feeling? What did the doctor say? Claire let her voice shake, let tears fall. Derek, I need to know something. Do you still love me? His mask flickered, just for a second, then slammed back into place. Of course I love you. You're my whole world. Liar, murderer, monster. But Claire smiled, squeezed his hand. The doctors say I might not make it, that the poison did too much damage, that the baby might not make it either. Derek's eyes flashed, excitement, hope, quickly hidden. Don't say that. You're going to be fine, both of you. I'm not. Claire's voice broke authentically, months of betrayal pouring out. I can feel it, Derek. I'm dying and I need to tell you something before I go. What is it? Derek leaned closer, taking the bait. I changed my will last month. Everything goes to Beth now. For her daughter, the inheritance, the insurance, all of it. Derek froze, complete stillness. Then slowly his mask cracked, shattered, fell away completely. You did what? Derek's face transformed. Loving husband disappeared. Something ugly emerged, something that had been hiding beneath the surface all along. That money is mine. Derek stood, paced. I've put up with you for 4 years. Do you know how boring you are? How exhausting? Claire's heart hammered. This was it, the real Derek, the monster. Derek, I thought you loved me. Loved you? Derek laughed, harsh, bitter. God, you're pathetic. I married you for the money, Claire. Your inheritance, the insurance, that's all you were ever worth. Each word was a knife. Claire had expected this, prepared for this, but hearing it still hurt, still destroyed something inside her. What about Tessa? Claire whispered. Tessa actually makes me happy. Tessa is exciting, fun, not some clingy, needy housewife who can't even... Derek stopped, caught himself, but too late. The confession was already spilling out. This was supposed to be clean, Derek continued, unable to stop now that he'd started. Food poisoning, tragic accident. But no, you had to survive. You always survive everything. Just like when you got that promotion I wanted. Just like when your mother left you money instead of drinking it away like mine did. You always get lucky. So you tried to kill me. Claire kept her voice steady. Needed him to say it. Clearly. Undeniably. Tessa made the poison. She's brilliant with chemistry. Did you know that? Brilliant. We planned it for months. Small doses first. Make you weak. Then the final dose at the shower. Everyone would think it was contaminated food. Tragic. Unfortunate. No one suspects the grieving husband. But I survived. You survived. Derek's hands clenched into fists. And now you're going to testify. Tell everyone what we did. Destroy my life, my future, everything I worked for. Everything you worked for? Claire's voice rose. You tried to murder your wife, your baby, for insurance money. For freedom, Derek shouted. Do you know what it's like being married to you? Having to pretend to care about your feelings. Your boring stories, your pathetic little dreams. I was trapped. Tessa offered me a way out, a way to be happy, to be with someone who actually deserves me. The door burst open. Detective Sarah Mistress entered with 2 uniformed officers. Derek Reynolds, you're under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and insurance fraud. Derek's face went white. You wired her. You recorded. He turned to Claire, pure hatred in his eyes. You set me up. You tried to kill me, Claire said calmly. I just made sure everyone knows the truth. Officers cuffed Derek. Read him his rights. He fought, screamed, called Claire every name he could think of, called her a manipulative liar, said she trapped him, forced him into this, that none of it was his fault. Even now, being arrested for attempted murder, Derek couldn't take responsibility, couldn't admit he chose this, chose poison over divorce, chose murder over honesty. Sarah escorted him out. His screaming echoed down the hallway, fading, disappearing. Claire sat in the hospital bed, shaking. Rick rushed in, held her while she cried. Not for Derek, for the man she thought he was, for the marriage that never existed, for 4 years of lies. It's over, Rick said. You did it. You got the confession. But it wasn't over. Not yet. Because Tessa was still out there, still pretending to be innocent, still playing the victim. Sarah returned an hour later, grim satisfaction on her face. We played Derek's confession for Tessa, told her he was blaming everything on her, saying she manipulated him, forced him into it, that he was the victim. What did she do? Claire asked. Broke down completely, confessed everything, the chemistry, the poison, the doses, the journal, how she's done this before, how Derek was supposed to be different, how they were supposed to be together forever. Sarah smiled coldly. Narcissists can't handle being betrayed. She gave us everything. Names, dates, details. Enough to charge her with 2 previous murders. 2? Claire felt sick. The boyfriends were exhuming the bodies now, but based on Tessa's confession, she poisoned them both, slowly. Made it look like heart attacks and strokes. Collected their money. Moved on to the next victim. Serial killer. Tessa was a serial killer, and Derek had allied himself with her, used her, let her target Claire and Emma. How long will they go to prison? Claire asked. Derek is looking at 15 to 20 years for attempted murder and conspiracy. Tessa is looking at 25 to life for multiple counts of murder. Neither will be eligible for parole for decades. 15 to 20 years. Derek would be 52 when he got out. Old, used up, his life destroyed by his own greed. Good. Claire felt no guilt, no sympathy, just relief. And something else, something like quiet strength building in her chest. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was a survivor, a fighter, and she had a story to tell. That night, Claire lay in Rick's guest room. Her room now. The room Rick had prepared with a crib, baby clothes, everything Emma would need. Emma kicked, strong rhythmic kicks like she was dancing. We made it, Claire whispered. We survived. And now everyone is going to know. Everyone is going to hear our story. Beth knocked, entered with her camera equipment. Ready to change the world? Beth asked. Claire sat up, ran her fingers through her hair. No makeup, no preparation, just honest, raw, real. I'm ready. Beth set up the camera, positioned Claire by the window. Natural light, soft, authentic. "Whenever you're ready," Beth said. "Just talk to the camera like you're talking to a friend. Tell our story." Our story, not Derek's story, not Tessa's story, Claire's story, Emma's story. Every woman who had been gaslit and poisoned and told she was crazy for trusting her instincts. Claire took a deep breath, looked directly into the camera, and began. "My name is Claire Reynolds. 7 months ago, my husband and his mistress tried to kill me and my unborn daughter. This is my story." She talked for 40 minutes, told everything. The slow poisoning, the gaslighting, the insurance policy, the cupcake, the arrest, the confession. She talked about the signs she ignored, the red flags she explained away. The instincts she dismissed because society told her to trust her husband, to support her marriage, to blame herself for his distance. She talked about being alone, having no family, believing Derek was all she had. And then she talked about finding Rick, about discovering she had a grandfather, about building a new family from the ashes of betrayal. I'm sharing this because someone watching right now is in a relationship that makes them feel small, Claire said, looking directly into the camera. That makes them second-guess their instincts, that makes them blame themselves for someone else's cruelty. I'm here to tell you, trust yourself. Trust your instincts. They're trying to save you. Beth wiped tears from her eyes as she filmed. If you feel like you're being poisoned emotionally, financially, spiritually, you probably are. And you deserve better. You deserve love that makes you bigger, not smaller. Love that celebrates you, not diminishes you. Love that chooses you, not insurance money. Claire's hand went to her belly. Emma kicked against her palm. "I almost died, never knowing I had family, never knowing I was loved, never knowing I was worth more than $1 million payout. Don't let someone else's poison steal your life, your future, your story." She paused, gathered herself. "Leave. Get help. Trust yourself. Your life might depend on it." Beth stopped recording. Silence filled the room. "That was perfect," Beth whispered. "That was beautiful and perfect, and it's going to help so many people." Claire nodded, exhausted, emotionally drained, but also lighter somehow, like sharing the story had released some of the weight. "Post it everywhere," Claire said. "I want the world to know. I want Derek and Tessa to know they didn't break me. They made me stronger." Beth uploaded the video that night, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Titled it simply, "I Survived, a pregnant woman's story of poisoning and betrayal." Within an hour, it had 1,000 views. Within 3 hours, 10,000. By morning, it had gone viral. 100,000 views. Comments flooding in, women sharing their own stories, their own escapes, their own survival. "Thank you for sharing. You saved my life. I left my husband because of this video. You're so brave." This is exactly what happened to me. The video didn't just go viral, it changed everything. Because Claire wasn't just telling her story anymore. She was giving voice to thousands of women who had lived similar nightmares, who had survived similar betrayals, who needed to know they weren't alone. The local news picked it up, then national news, CNN, MSNBC, Fox. Every major outlet wanted to interview her, wanted to hear the pregnant woman who was poisoned by her husband and saved by the grandfather she never knew. The story had everything: drama, betrayal, murder, family reunion, justice, hope. But most importantly, it had truth, raw, unfiltered, powerful truth that resonated across the country. Derek's lawyer called Sarah, begged her to take the video down, claimed it was prejudicing potential jurors, violating Derek's right to a fair trial. Sarah laughed in his face. "Your client confessed on tape. We have the journal, the emails, the evidence. There's no trial to prejudice, just a plea deal to negotiate. And thanks to Claire's video, the DA is pushing for maximum sentences. Public pressure, public outrage, your client is going away for a very long time." Tessa's lawyer tried a different approach, claimed Tessa was mentally ill, that she needed treatment, not prison, that she was a victim of Derek's manipulation. But then 3 more women came forward. Women who had dated Tessa. Women who got sick, who left when things felt wrong, who barely escaped with their lives. The pattern was undeniable. Tessa was a predator. A serial killer who used charm and chemistry to destroy lives. Claire watched the news coverage from Rick's living room. Her face on every screen, her story on every channel, her truth echoing across the country. "How does it feel?" Rick asked. "Being famous?" "Strange," Claire admitted, "but good, like I'm taking back control. They tried to silence me permanently. Instead, I'm louder than ever." Emma kicked, hard, like she approved. Claire smiled, rested her hand on her belly. "Your mommy is kind of a badass, baby girl. You're going to have stories to tell." The video reached 10 million views in 48 hours. Claire's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Producers, reporters, documentary filmmakers. Everyone wanted her story, her time, her trauma packaged into digestible content. Sarah helped filter the requests, separated the legitimate from the exploitative, found a documentary team that promised to handle the story with respect, with dignity. But the most important calls came from victims. Women who saw themselves in Claire's story, who recognized the signs, who finally had the courage to leave. One woman called the police on her husband after watching the video. They found rat poison in his coffee maker. He confessed to slowly poisoning her for months for the insurance money, just like Derek. Another woman left her boyfriend, took her kids, started over. She sent Claire a message. "Your video saved our lives. We're free because of you." The stories poured in, hundreds, thousands, all different and all the same. Women who trusted their partners, who ignored their instincts, who blamed themselves for abuse. Claire read every message, cried over every story, responded when she could, let them know they weren't alone. They were seen. They were believed. "You've started a movement," Beth said, scrolling through the comments. Women are calling it the Claire effect, trusting their instincts, leaving dangerous relationships, demanding better. Claire hadn't meant to start a movement, had just wanted to tell her truth. But somehow her truth became everyone's truth. Her survival became hope for others. Rick watched from the doorway, pride written all over his face. "Margaret would be so proud of you," he said. "She always wanted to change the world, save people, make things better. You're doing that now through her legacy, through her daughter." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I wish she could see this, see Emma, see us together." She does see it, somehow, somewhere. She sees and she's proud. The media requests intensified. Good Morning America wanted an interview. The View wanted her as a guest. Oprah's people called. Oprah herself wanted to hear the story, but Claire said no to most of them. Said yes only to interviews that focused on awareness, education, helping other women recognize the signs of poisoning, both literal and figurative. She appeared on a domestic violence awareness special, sat with other survivors, shared resources, hotline numbers, escape plans for women trapped in dangerous situations. A women's shelter reached out, named their new wing after Claire, the Claire Reynolds Wing, a safe space for pregnant women leaving abusive relationships. "You don't have to do this," the director said, "but we'd be honored if you'd come to the opening, cut the ribbon, or meet some of the women you have helped." Claire agreed, 8 months pregnant now, waddling more than walking, but determined to be there, to see the impact, to meet her sisters in survival. The opening was emotional. 20 women in residence, all pregnant, all fleeing violence, all given a second chance because of Claire's story. One woman hugged her, whispered, "I saw your video the night I decided to leave. I thought I was crazy, thought I was overreacting. But your video made me trust myself, made me trust my instincts. Thank you. Thank you for saving me and my baby." Claire hugged her back, both of them crying, both of them surviving. Rick stood in the back, watching his granddaughter change lives, save lives, be the doctor he always tried to be, but in a different way, a better way. Meanwhile, Tessa's trial preparation revealed new horrors. The exhumed bodies tested positive for arsenic. Both men poisoned slowly over months, made to look like natural deaths. No one suspected, no one questioned, until Claire's video, until women started coming forward, until the pattern became undeniable. 3 more victims survived. 3 women who dated Tessa, who got sick, who left before the final dose. They had blamed themselves, thought they had weak stomachs, bad genetics, bad luck. Now they knew the truth. Tessa had tried to kill them too, had failed, moved on to easier targets, to men with more money, to Derek with his pregnant wife and insurance policy. The prosecution built a case that couldn't be beaten. Multiple murders, attempted murders, conspiracy, financial fraud. The evidence was overwhelming. Tessa's lawyer tried everything. Insanity defense, diminished capacity. Victim of abuse herself, nothing worked. Because Claire's video had changed the narrative, had made Tessa famous for being a monster, had made it impossible for anyone to see her as anything but a predator. Derek's case was simpler. His confession was recorded, his guilt undeniable. His lawyer negotiated a plea deal, 15 to 20 years, no parole for at least 12. Derek would be 54 when he might see freedom again. Old, broken, forgotten. Tessa's trial was scheduled for 3 months later. She would face a jury, face justice, face life in prison for multiple murders. But Claire wouldn't have to testify. The confession was enough, the evidence overwhelming. Claire could focus on Emma, on healing, on building her new life. The video's impact rippled outward. States started passing Claire's law. Mandatory toxicology screening for pregnant women showing signs of poisoning. Better training for doctors to recognize abuse. Stronger penalties for poisoning spouses. Claire became the face of a movement she never intended to start. But she embraced it, used her platform, spoke at conferences, lobbied for legislation, became an advocate for victims. But through it all, she remained herself, remained Claire, pregnant, scared sometimes, missing the fantasy of who Derek pretended to be, grieving the marriage that never existed. Rick was there for all of it. The interviews, the speeches, the tears at 3 a.m. when the reality hit too hard. "I loved him," Claire whispered one night. "I know I shouldn't. I know he tried to kill me, but some part of me still loves the man I thought he was." "That's normal," Rick said gently. "Grief isn't logical. You're not grieving Derek. You're grieving the future you thought you'd have, the family you thought you were building. That loss is real, even if the person wasn't. When does it stop hurting?" "I don't know. Margaret's been gone 35 years. Some days it still hurts like yesterday, but it gets easier. The pain becomes manageable, becomes part of you instead of all of you." They sat in comfortable silence, grandfather and granddaughter, both surviving loss, both building something new from the ashes. Emma kicked, stronger every day, ready to enter the world, ready to meet the family that fought so hard for her life. "She's going to be fierce," Rick said, feeling Emma's kicks against Claire's belly. "She's going to be loved," Claire corrected. "By both of us, by Beth, by Linda, by everyone. She'll never doubt she's wanted, never doubt she's worth more than money, never doubt her own instincts. You're going to be an amazing mother. I'm terrified. That means you'll be great at it. The parents who aren't scared are the ones who mess up." Claire laughed. "Is that medical advice, Dr. Barrett?" "Life advice from someone who messed up his own family pretty badly." "You didn't mess up. You lost. There's a difference, and you're getting a second chance now. With me, with Emma, don't waste it on guilt." Rick smiled. "You sound like Margaret. She was always too wise for her age, too." "Maybe wisdom is genetic, too, like insomnia and stress organizing. The Barrett legacy: can't sleep, stress clean, give unsolicited wisdom, were a nightmare at parties." They laughed together, finding joy in the darkness, finding family in the aftermath of betrayal. Outside, the media circus continued. But inside Rick's house, Claire was just a pregnant woman, just a granddaughter, just someone healing, surviving, becoming. The video had given her power, had given her voice, had given her platform, but family gave her something more important: belonging, love, home. And that was worth more than 10 million views. More than all the publicity in the world. 3 months later, Claire sat in the courtroom. 9 months pregnant now. Due any day. Her belly was enormous. Emma active, ready to be born. Rick sat beside her. Beth on the other side. Linda behind them. An army of support. A family she had built from nothing. Tessa Morgan entered in handcuffs. Orange jumpsuit, hair pulled back. No makeup. She looked small. Ordinary. Nothing like the monster who had killed 3 men and tried to kill Claire and Emma. Their eyes met. Tessa's expression was cold. Empty. No remorse. No recognition of the harm she'd caused. Just calculation. Assessment. Like Claire was still just an obstacle. Still just a problem to solve. Claire held her gaze. Didn't look away. Didn't flinch. She wasn't afraid anymore. Wasn't a victim. Was a survivor sitting in a courtroom watching justice happen. The judge entered. Everyone rose. The proceeding began. Tessa had rejected the plea deal. Insisted on a trial. Believed she could convince a jury that she was the real victim. That Derek manipulated her. That the men she killed deserved it somehow. Narcissism didn't allow for accountability. Didn't allow for acceptance of guilt. Tessa would fight to the end. Claim innocence while the evidence buried her. The prosecutor was excellent. Laid out the case methodically. The exhumed bodies, the arsenic, the journal, the confession, the pattern of predation. Witness after witness testified. The women who survived, the investigators who connected the jump, the chemist who explained exactly how Tessa manufactured the poison. Derek testified against her. Part of his plea deal, he sat in the witness box looking broken, defeated, nothing like the charming man Claire married. He described the affair, the planning, how Tessa came to him with the idea, how she promised they'd be together, rich, happy, free. She said Claire was an obstacle, Derek testified. That removing obstacles was sometimes necessary, that she had done it before, successfully, that no one ever suspected. Did you believe her? The prosecutor asked. Yes, I wanted to believe her. I wanted the money, the freedom. I wanted out of my marriage without losing my business, without looking like the bad guy. Derek's voice was hollow. I thought I was smart, thought we were smart, but we were just criminals, murderers. And you agreed to help her poison your wife? Yes, I agreed. I brought the prenatal vitamins to her. Let her dose them, brought them home. Watched Claire take them every way. Watched her get sicker. And I did nothing, said nothing. Let it happen. Why? Derek looked at Claire for the first time. Because I'm weak, selfish. Because I thought money mattered more than people. More than the woman who loved me. More than my daughter. I was wrong about everything. The courtroom was silent. Claire felt nothing looking at Derek. No anger, no sadness, just emptiness. The man she loved had never existed. This stranger in the witness box was all that was real. Tessa's lawyer tried to discredit Derek, called him a liar, a manipulator, claimed he was shifting blame to save himself. But the evidence didn't lie. The journal was in Tessa's handwriting. The poison was manufactured with her expertise. The pattern was hers alone. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Came back with a verdict. Guilty. On all counts, 3 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, multiple counts of conspiracy and fraud. Tessa showed no emotion, just stared at the wall, calculating still, planning her appeal, never accepting that she had lost. The judge set sentencing for 2 weeks later. Recommended 25 years to life. No possibility of parole for at least 20 years. Tessa would be 47 before she even had a chance at freedom. Would likely die in prison. Claire felt the tension leave her body. It was over. Really over. Tessa would never hurt anyone again. Would never poison another victim. Would never calculate another murder. Justice had been served. Outside the courtroom, reporters swarmed. Claire had agreed to make a statement. One final public moment. Then she was done. Moving on. Living her life. Today, justice was served, Claire said into the cameras. For me, for my daughter, for the men Tessa murdered, for all her victims. But this isn't just about one case, one trial. This is about believing women when they say something is wrong, about trusting instincts, about holding abusers accountable. She paused. Emma kicked. Hard. Like she had opinions about the speech. I'm 9 months pregnant, about to give birth, about to start a new chapter in a life that almost ended. I'm grateful for my grandfather who saved me, for my friend who supported me, for everyone who believed my story, who shared it, who let their own truth be heard. What message do you have for other victims? A reporter shouted. Claire looked directly into the camera. Trust yourself. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. Your instincts are trying to save you. Listen to them, leave. Get help. Your life is worth more than whatever is holding you back. You deserve love that builds you up, not tears you down. You deserve to live. The crowd erupted in applause, women crying, holding each other, sharing their own survival stories. Claire stepped back. Let Beth guide her to the car. Let Rick help her into the passenger seat. Let the exhaustion of 9 months finally hit. You did it, Rick said. You survived. You won. We did it, Claire corrected. I couldn't have done this alone. Rick drove them home, not to his house, to Claire's house now, their house, the home they were building together, where Emma would grow up surrounded by love, by family, by safety. That night, contractions started, small at first, then stronger, regular. It's time, Claire said. Rick grabbed the hospital bag. Beth drove. They rushed to Hartford Medical, where this all began, where Rick saved Claire, where she discovered her grandfather, where her old life ended and her new life began. 14 hours of labor, Rick coaching breathing, Beth holding her hand, Linda checking vitals and laughing at Barrett family jokes. And finally, at 3:27 in the morning, Emma Margaret Barrett Reynolds entered the world, screaming, perfect, alive. Claire held her daughter for the first time, this tiny human she had protected, fought for, almost died for. Hi, baby, Claire whispered. I'm your mom, and this is your great-grandpa Rick, and your Aunt Beth, and we love you so much, so much. Emma stopped crying, opened her eyes. Blue, Barrett blue. The legacy continued. Rick cut the umbilical cord with shaking hands, tears streaming down his face. Welcome to the family, Emma. Welcome home. 6 months after Emma's birth, Claire sat in her living room. Rick's living room, their living room. The space had transformed. Baby toys everywhere. Photos of Emma covering the walls. The smell of baby powder and coffee always in the air. Emma lay on her playmat, 6 months old, grabbing at toys, giggling. Perfect. Claire worked on her laptop. Her graphic design business had taken off. Working from home. Setting her own hours. Building a future on her own terms. Beth's daughter played with Emma. The girls were like cousins, like sisters, growing up together, building their own friendship. Rick retired officially last month. 40 years in medicine. Thousands of lives saved. But he said saving Claire was his greatest accomplishment. Being part of Emma's life, his greatest one. Now he helped with night feedings, changed diapers, sang terrible lullabies, spoiled Emma absolutely rotten. The documentary premiered to critical acclaim. Poisoned, a survivor's story, won awards. Raised awareness, inspired more women to leave dangerous relationships, to trust themselves. Claire's video now had 50 million views. The comments still came, still shared stories, still said thank you for saving my life. A knock on the door interrupted her work. Linda entered with groceries. She came by 3 times a week, cooked, cleaned, and became the grandmother Emma needed. How's my favorite baby? Linda cooed, picking up Emma. Spoiled, Claire said, absolutely spoiled by everyone. As she should be. This baby is a miracle. Surviving poison, surviving murder attempts. She's a fighter like her mama. Claire's phone buzzed. Email from Derek's lawyer. She considered deleting it. Then curiosity won. Derek wanted to see Emma, wanted visitation rights, wanted to be part of his daughter's life. Claire deleted the email, didn't respond, didn't hesitate. Lock, done. Derek gave up his right to be a father when he tried to murder her, when he chose money over family. When he partnered with a serial killer to poison his pregnant wife, Emma would grow up knowing her father was in prison, would grow up knowing why, would grow up understanding that some people's love was conditional, dangerous, that real love protected, nurtured, chose you every single day. Rick appeared in the doorway. Mail came, something for you. Claire opened the envelope. Letter from Maya Harper, Tessa's younger sister. They had stayed in touch, built an unexpected friendship. Dear Claire, I'm writing to let you know I graduated counseling school. I'm opening a practice specializing in trauma survivors, in family dysfunction, in helping people break cycles of abuse. Tessa destroyed so many lives. But you rebuilt yours. You showed me that we're not responsible for our family's choices, that we can create new families, new legacies, new stories. Thank you for inviting me to Emma's birth, for including me in your family, for not blaming me for my sister's crimes. You gave me hope when I had none. Love always, Maya Claire smiled. Tessa had tried to isolate her, destroy her, take everything from her. Instead, Tessa had given her a family, a grandfather, a sister in Maya, a tribe of survivors connected through pain but thriving through healing. That afternoon, a documentary crew came for the follow-up interview, the one-year anniversary special. Where are they now? Claire sat with Emma on her lap, Rick beside her, both of them ready to share their story, their transformation, their healing. 1 year ago, someone tried to end your story, the interviewer said. How does it feel to be here, to have Emma, to have survived? Claire looked at Rick, at Emma, at the family she had built from the ashes of betrayal. 1 year ago, I thought I had nothing. No family, no future, just a husband who was secretly trying to kill me. Claire's voice was steady, strong. Today, I have everything. A daughter, a grandfather, a chosen family, a purpose, a voice. What would you tell yourself 1 year ago? The interviewer asked. Claire paused, considered. That the poison wasn't the cupcake. The poison was the relationship, the isolation, the self-doubt, the believing I was crazy when my instincts screamed danger. And the antidote was family, connection, truth, trusting myself. Rick added that it's never too late for family, never too late for truth. I lost 30 years with my daughter. I won't lose another second with my granddaughter, with my great-granddaughter. Time is precious. Family is everything in mine. The interview continued. They talked about the trial, the verdict, Tessa's life sentence, Derek's imprisonment, the justice system working for once. But mostly they talked about healing, about Emma's first laugh, first tooth, first time she grabbed Rick's finger and held on tight. They talked about Claire's business thriving, about Beth becoming Emma's godmother, officially, about Linda's retirement party where 3 generations of Barretts celebrated together. They talked about the women Claire helped, the shelter wing, the speaking engagements, the lives saved through her story. The interviewer's final question. What's next for Claire Reynolds? Claire smiled. I'm writing a book, my full story, everything from childhood to now. The isolation, the poisoning, the recovery, the rebuilding. I want other women to see the whole journey, to know that survival is possible, that thriving after trauma is possible, that you can build a family from nothing, that love exists that doesn't hurt. What's the title? Poisoned but not broken, How I Survived Murder and Found Family. Rick squeezed her hand. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us, Claire corrected. Emma's first birthday party was small, intimate. Rick, Beth and her daughter, Linda, Maya, Sarah Mitchell, the detective who believed her, who fought for her, who helped get justice. No media, no cameras, just family celebrating 1 year of life, 1 year of survival, 1 year of joy. Claire baked the cake herself. Lavender cake, reclaiming the flavor that almost killed her terroir. turning poison into celebration. Emma grabbed at the frosting, smeared it everywhere, laughed her perfect baby laugh. Rick helped her blow out the candle. One candle, 1 year. One complete revolution around the sun. Claire took photos, posted one to social media, the first post in months. Caption: 1 year ago, someone tried to end my story. Today, I'm writing new chapters. To everyone starting over, your best chapters are ahead. Trust yourself, choose yourself, love yourself. You're worth it. The post went viral again. Comments flooded in. Women sharing their progress, their healing, their own new chapters. You saved my life. I left because of you. 1 year sober from my toxic relationship. Thank you for showing me what real love looks like. My daughter is alive because you inspired me to trust my instincts. Claire read them all, cried over them, celebrated each woman's survival. Beth found her on the porch, stars bright overhead, Emma asleep inside. Music drifting from the house where Rick and Linda danced to oldies. You did good, Claire, really good. I survived, that's all. No, you thrived, you transformed. You took the worst thing that ever happened and turned it into hope for millions of women. That's not surviving, that's transcending. Claire looked at the sky, at the infinite possibilities, at the future stretching ahead. Mom would be proud, she said softly. She would, Beth agreed, and she'd love Emma and Rick and this family you've built. I wish she could see it. Maybe she can. Maybe she arranged it somehow, brought Rick to that hospital, made sure you survived, made sure you found family again. You think? I think love doesn't die. It transforms, changes shape, finds new ways to exist. Your mom's love is in Emma's smile, in Rick's eyes, in every woman you've helped. Love doesn't end. It multiplies. They sat in comfortable silence, two sisters who chose each other, who built family from friendship, who survived together. Inside, Emma woke, started crying. Claire stood, went to her daughter, picked her up, held her close. Hi, baby. Did you have a good nap? Did you have the best first birthday? Emma grabbed Claire's hair, pulled, laughed. You're going to be fierce, Claire whispered, just like your great-grandma Margaret. Just like your mama. Just like every woman in our family who refused to be broken, who refused to let poison win. Rick appeared. Need help? No, just holding her, remembering. Remembering what? That 1 year ago I thought I was dying, thought I had nothing, and now I have everything. Funny how life works. Not funny, miraculous. You're a miracle, Claire. Emma's a miracle. This family is a miracle. They stood together, 3 generations, Rick, Claire, Emma, the family that almost wasn't, the family that survived poison, betrayal, murder attempts, loss, the family that chose each other every single day. Claire's phone lit up. Message from another survivor, another woman leaving a dangerous relationship, another life saved. Claire smiled, typed a response, offered resources, support, hope. Then she put the phone down, focused on Emma, on Rick, on the family in front of her instead of the virtual world. Because this was real, this love, this safety, this belonging. Derek sat in prison. Tessa sat in prison, both of them aging, dying slowly, losing everything they tried to steal, while Claire thrived, built, created, loved. The poison hadn't killed her, hadn't broken her, had only revealed her strength, her resilience, her capacity to survive anything. Ready for cake? Rick asked. I'm ready for everything, Claire said. She closed her laptop, picked up Emma, walked into the living room where her family waited, where love waited, where life waited. Outside, the stars shone, infinite, eternal, witness to one woman's survival, one family's resurrection, one baby's miraculous life. And somewhere, maybe Margaret was watching, smiling, proud of the daughter who became a mother, the father who became a grandfather, the family that found each other through darkness and built something beautiful in the light, The video would remain online forever. A testament, a warning, a promise. Trust yourself. Choose yourself. Love yourself. Your best chapters are always ahead. Claire Reynolds survived because she trusted her instincts, because she found the courage to expose the truth, because she refused to let poison, whether literal or emotional, steal her future. If this story impacted you, if Claire's courage inspired you, if you know someone who needs to hear this message, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment below telling us what shocked you most. Was it the grandfather reveal? The months of slow poisoning? The viral justice? We read every single comment. Share this story with every woman in your life, every mother, every sister, every friend who's ever doubted her instincts. Your share could save a life, literally, and subscribe to this channel for more true survival stories. Real people, real courage, real hope. We post new stories every week. Stories that matter. Stories that save lives. Remember Claire's words, trust yourself. Your best chapters are ahead. Now go live them. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and always, always trust your instincts.